Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Astrological Intentions. I am your host, Alex Reevy, along with the Thanksgiving turkey herself, Sandy Reevy.
Got it in the oven. I'm putting another one in soon.
It is episode 332, the week of December 2nd. Let's get right into it. In the transits, we start off with today, Monday, Venus trine, Uranus retrograde.
Hey, this is with reception. So there's a special meetup here.
And Sandy's conflict day, December 4th, Wednesday, Sun square Saturn.
Are you still stuck?
Mercury retrograde opposing Jupiter retrograde.
They've swapped houses.
And Venus sextile, Neptune retrograde.
Dress for success.
Then Friday, December 6th, Mercury retrograde, cazimi the sun.
Big ideas.
And Mars stations retrograde.
Curb your clash.
And Mercury retrograde, square Saturn.
A serious nature.
And Saturday, December 7th, Venus ingress Aquarius.
Choose different.
And Sun opposing Jupiter retrograde.
You need some freedom.
And Venus conjunct Pluto.
Intensity in relating.
And Neptune stationing direct.
Oh, can you make sense now?
Then on the horizon, we have our December astrology forecast, as well as an upcoming Mars retrograde webinar on December 4th. Then in our house, Sandy and I are off for our Thanksgiving festivities, so just saying happy Thanksgiving to everyone. Stay tuned for this episode of Astrological Intentions.
I say go do you. Now travel far, share your stories and earn your scars. It's you. Say you are the one you will answer to when this life is done. Don't waste a minute, jump in the river, wash yourself clean so you can deliver you.
Hello, Thanksgiving turkey. I know we're a few days late on this now that it's Monday, December 2nd, but we are in the Thanksgiving mood. So I hope we can at least give a couple of Thanksgiving leftovers here on the podcast.
Well, no, we are recording this before the day before Thanksgiving so that we didn't forget with all the family festivities that are going on here in Cincinnati. So lots of cooking, planning, setting tables, arranging all the Christmas decorations are all already up. We're just having to do some outside lights.
Yes.
And about 50 wreaths and greenery pieces.
Beautiful.
You know, my mom, I'm out. I was just putting a bow on the ram sitting out by her fire pit.
Yeah. Oh, it's like a little garden ram.
Yeah.
Cute. All right. So we have a big week ahead. So because it's so big, do you want to give us a quick kind of like summary of an overarching idea?
Well, overarching has got my conflict day of the month, my Astro-Interesting day of the month, and my favorite day of the month.
Okay.
I don't think that there has been one week that I've had 3 of those in a week for the month.
Wow.
Right. So it's like, it's, like a really fast, curvy bell curve, up and down, and up and down. So there are some squares, there are some oppositions, there are some conjunctions. Mars is retrograding, Neptune is stationing direct. We've got two planets going over the great conjunction area. We do have some trines and some sextiles that can kind of calm us down, but they're not strong enough to do. So it is going to be a massive week.
Right.
And, one question or one thought I had that I was, I'm watching the news as all astrologers do. We got Mars retrograding this week, on the 6th. And so typically when Mars retrogrades, Mars is the planet of war. And when he's retrograding, he goes more internal or not so external, we should say. So I'm just really loving this temporary ceasefire that is coming on the news feeds right now that Netanyahu has agreed to. So that makes sense with this Mars slowing down to turn retrograde within a week.
Right.
So
Right.
let's hope that, this whole 70 days that Mars is retrograde can do some really nice more permanency in a more sensible direction.
Right. Okay, so that was a serious summary. So, so let's start off with today, December 2nd, Venus trine Uranus retrograde.
Yeah, like I said, this is with reception. Venus is making this trine from Earth to Earth, Capricorn to Taurus, where she rules. And it's a special meetup. So Venus, they meet here and, they make a stimulating pact. Are you able to see it through? Most probably yes, because it's Earth sign. They're both in Earth sign saying, let's get serious. Let's walk the ground. What is grounded? What is reliable? How can we depend on one another? The one thing about a Uranus is, hey, with the trine to the Venus, if you're bored, it's your own fault. It's not anyone else's if you're bored, because you should really be doing something, possibly doing something different.
Mm. Okay.
Like,
So a
Venus and Capricorn here, she likes to do when she gets into this area of the sky, Capricorn-ish, she likes to do what's correct, what works. High success levels, which have been kind of pre-written. What has worked before? Let's do that again. But when she meets up with the trine to Uranus, they're like, you know what? Let's throw that out the window. Let's try something new.
Interesting. So that is kind of, at least for me, speaking to different business tactics. Maybe try something that you haven't tried before. Throw things out that, are stale or just aren't working and go and try something new.
Yeah, it's Earth. It has legs that can walk the Earth.
Mm-hmm. So let's move on to December 4th, which is Wednesday, your conflict day. And we start off with Sun square Saturn.
And that's why it's my conflict day. It's the Sun in Sagittarius making a square to Saturn in Pisces. Now, Jupiter rules both of these, right? Jupiter rules Sagittarius, where the Sun is, and Jupiter rules Pisces, where Saturn is just stationed direct, although he hasn't moved yet. I'll talk about that in a minute. So when we think about Jupiter rules both of these planets and their actions, we go to look at Jupiter and we go, oh, Jupiter's retrograde and in fall. So Jupiter's not able to help. Jupiter's not able to help. So that's why I'm like, are you still stuck? I believe it. If you feel stuck, believe it. I believe it. Go ahead and push through. It's going to move soon. So don't go back to the drawing board, or don't go back to your comfortable chair and then put it in relax mode, and you lean back in the lazy boy. No, keep pushing through, because this Saturn is about to move. You may want to fly, but Saturn hasn't moved yet, but it will. Keep pushing, keep pushing. You may only find, if you don't have enough energy for pushing through all the things that you have been working on, find one thing that's difficult to handle. You can accomplish that. You put all, and even
Saturn. And Saturn might even enjoy a step-by-step process. If you can break it down, if it seems really overwhelming, just start with step number 1.
Yeah.
What is, if you are like, oh my gosh, I have to get my doctorate together and I have no idea even what school, you just make the call. You just go on the website. That is step number 1. Try and figure that out.
Well, it's so funny, because can I talk about that for a second?
Sure.
So my mom and I are making pumpkin pies, right? And she bought all the ingredients, and she wants to help get all the ingredients out of the cabinet. So she opened and I start adding these things to the bowl. And I know we're making 2 pies, so I'm doubling it, because she's got the things in her hand. She's got the ingredients or the recipe in her hand from the label. And I'm doubling everything she's telling me. And finally I get to the point, I'm like, that's an awful lot of sugar. That's an awful lot of salt. It's an awful lot of cinnamon. And finally I go, Mom, I'm doubling this. And she goes, no, 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 no. It's for 2 pies. So I wasn't reading the ingredients because she was. And so I was doubling in my head. We're making 2 pies. She was giving me the ingredients for 2 pies.
Oh no.
We had to start from scratch again.
Oh no.
So it's kind of like true, follow the rules from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Establish
Clarity
them.
and step-by-step process. Right. So that's funny. So continuing on Wednesday, we have 2 more transits. The next is Mercury retrograde opposing Jupiter retrograde.
So this is the second of 3 passes that Mercury is opposing Jupiter. They oppose each other in the theme of Monday. Jupiter is the expansive, the prosperity, right? The international, and Mercury is the domestic, the short travel, or the detail oriented. So that's why they're opposite in the theme of Monday and the regular, in the normal astrology 101 lessons that we get. However, they're in opposite signs that they like being in. So they've swapped houses, they've swapped signs. So it's either too much or not enough. So be satisfied in the trade that they make. Release something from your to-do list. The to-do list is too long, therefore too detail oriented. So, this ability and this ability to do something that started around November 18th. It's not too long ago. That was just about 2 weeks ago. What have you been doing that just seems a bit overwhelming or too much work for just a little bit of return? Understand that at least and be satisfied in the trade.
Right. Yeah, that's kind of funny. Like the house swapping, it just reminds me that there are more and more apps that I'm seeing that isn't necessarily like an Airbnb. Like you don't pay a dollar amount, but people are putting their houses up on these house swapping sites, and you have to have a background check and all of these things. But there's all these houses that open up because people just want to stay at other people's houses, which you get credits for every time somebody does.
Well, isn't there a movie that Andrew always loved every year called like
The Holiday?
What is it called?
The Holiday, I'm pretty sure.
When they swap like Scotland, LA, and then they each fall in love. So yeah, swap houses.
It's such a great
literally,
one.
maybe literally.
Right. So the last transit of Wednesday, the 4th, Venus sextile Neptune retrograde.
Hey, this is also with reception because Venus is exalted in Pisces, where Neptune is retrograde. And he's stationing. He's about to go direct by the end of the week. But, Venus in Neptune has good taste. This is good taste today. So dress for success. You have good taste in fashion, in relationships, in all your creative work. You can make an effort to expand your art form. How can you do that? Right? Venus is art. Capricorn is about success.
Right. So, and show up the way that you want to, because there's no one telling you that you must wear those athletic pants.
Right. And it makes me think of that big masterpiece, tongue in cheek, that sold that banana taped on a canvas.
Right. Yeah.
Right. They expected that it went to auction about 2 weeks ago, and they were expecting $1 million. Somebody would pay $1 million for that. It went for like $5 million.
What?
And the guy
is this a new banana or this is the original same banana?
And I never knew the whole thing about that. But it went for about $5 to $6 million, and he was so excited to eat that banana like on his breakfast the next morning, because what you do is you keep adding a new banana. So it's not the same banana that's gotten rotten or is pumped with preservatives or anything. They just keep changing the banana. So it's just this concept art, and somebody paid $5 to $6 million for that.
I'll never understand that.
Well, that person probably has a Venus sextile Neptune or trine Neptune going, hey, anything is a piece of art, right?
And apparently worth $5 million. So let's move on to Friday, December 6th, Mercury retrograde, cazimi the sun.
Yeah, this is big ideas. He comes along in the retrograde 3 times a year and crosses the sun when he's in the heart of the sun. He does it 3 times retrograde, and he does it 3 times when he's direct, when it's in superior motion. This is called the inferior cazimi. So trust your thoughts and your intuitions. Write them down because they may fly away. These big ideas might just go whoosh, whoosh, because it's in the Sagittarius sign of fire, mutable fire, and it might just like swoosh away. Eliminate the too much. Eliminates again something on your to-do list. This is a time when maybe you do pull in a little bit and not have too many thoughts outside of self, because it's retrograde. You're keeping the thoughts inside, these big ideas inside. Again, write them down so that they don't fly away, or you say them out loud and somebody else takes your great idea. Because it's retrograde. Okay. You're still working it through.
Right. And the third transit of that day, Friday, Mars stations retrograde.
Hey, he's the guy that stations the least amount every 25 to 26 months. So that's not often at all. And he is at 6 degrees of Leo, and he's going to go all the way back to 17 degrees of Cancer. So he is going to be going over a boundary signs, right? He's going to be going Leo and then back to Cancer, then Cancer back to Leo. And he doesn't finish up the retrograde until February 23rd. And then he doesn't finish his shadow until like May 4th. It's like ridiculous time period. So, curb your dramatic behaviors. You may get a clash. This is definitely a time when everybody should be getting an astrology reading so that you can see where this Mars is going through. Because Mars is the planet of war, action that I mentioned at the top of the hour, that while it's on vacation or a long cigarette break, that we say he's not doing what he needs to do, he can be less motivating. We can find a little bit of low activity, low motivation. So, right. But that can be frustrating if you're holding a lot of things inside. Right. So it's, again, this clashing. Learn how to play the drums, learn how to do chair yoga, learn how to do things that don't have a lot of external movement, but still has movement. Sit in a hot bathtub. That can stimulate all your organs, right? It can warm them up. It's like, how are you going to, this is a time to turn inward. Luckily that it just happens to be winter, because what warms our desires, what warms our motivation, what warms our soul, what warms our spirit, right? It's our solar plexus. What makes us, what turns us on, what lights our fire. It's time to go check that out again.
Okay.
I'm just thinking about you and thinking about it's where it's going through for you. It's not hitting your moon yet, but it's going through your fourth house about, and now your engagement, you kind of check that motivation off. Now you've got a whole new set of considerations, right? Just
totally
kind of talking about your stuff. Yeah. Mine is in my 12th house. So it's kind of like, where do I hide, right? My retreats. You're really focusing on things that, how do I want to motivate in my personal space?
And behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Cool. So the final transit of Friday, we have Mercury retrograde square Saturn. This is the second of 3 passes.
Yeah, and this is at 14 degrees because Saturn is finally moved off the 13. He's been on the 13 for like 30 days. That's where he retrograded or turned direct from his retrogradation. So now this becomes a serious nature. Now Mercury's retrograde. Last time they met up on November 5th, Mercury was direct and Saturn was retrograde.
Mm-hmm.
So Saturn is now on the move. Mercury is going backwards. The next time they meet up is December 27th, and they will be both direct, meaning we have to rethink the move that we want to make on December 27th. So it could be, on November 5th, December 6th to December 27th. It's kind of like a hop, skip, and a jump on some of the same topics around those times.
Interesting. Food for thought.
Yeah, and it may be hard to change your mind because when it's square Saturn, it's kind of like whatever you said around November 5th, like I'm going to do this, or, I promise I'm going to do that, to whoever you said it to, a boss, a mom, a partner, your daughter, saying that. And now it comes back on this Friday the 6th. It's like, are you still going to do that? And you're like, I'm rethinking it. But it's going to be really hard to change your mind because it's square Saturn. Saturn's like, you said that. I took you for word.
All right.
So you're going to have to what we call massage that promise.
Okay. And our last day of the astrological week is Saturday, December 7th. And we have 4 transits. And this is also your Astro-Interesting day and your favorite day. So let's get into it. Venus ingress Aquarius.
Right. Venus comes out of Capricorn and goes into Aquarius, the air sign. And she just wants to do things different, or she wants just to go solo. She wants to maybe a little bit be alone or be a little bit chilled away from people. Maybe this time period will, she just wants to have a little bit of autonomy. All right. It's in Aquarius. Maybe she wants to help charitable, groups.
Right. It kind of reminds me of the Venus sextile Neptune of just really dressing for success and doing something a little bit different. So yeah, choose different, be different this week for sure. So let's move on to the next transit, which is Sun opposing Jupiter retrograde.
Yeah. And again, here we go for the need for freedom. Sun is in Aquarius, Sun is in Sagittarius, the other long word of the sign, making this opposition to Jupiter that rules it. So take a step forward with optimism. Just one by one, cheerful, happy, and able to get ahead. One by one. Not 5 steps at a time. You may trip. Might be too many. So one step at a time.
Got it. And your Astro-Interesting transit, which is Venus conjunct Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius.
This is what is called the great conjunction of so back in 2020, when we had Jupiter and Saturn, these are the 2 superior planets, when they moved together, when they conjoined, they were at 0 degrees of Aquarius. So this set up a new 200-year cycle that we're 4 years in. We're 4 years in. This was in December of 2020.
This is like COVID time.
Yeah. And this was called it's always called the great conjunction when these 2 planets meet up in a conjunction. But because it was at 0 Aquarius, this seems to be the hot spot. It's one of the hot spots in this 200-year period. So now here comes Pluto. Boom, Pluto's there. I've been crossing that line. And Venus comes through and meets up with Pluto. So intensity in relationships. It could be grand. It could be what my dad calls overkill. So in other words, be moderate. I mean, it's Pluto. So we want to understand both sides of the story and how things can transpire, transform, evolve without so much intense swinging of extremes.
Yeah.
Right. And this is Venus. This could be money. This could be the market. This could be love. I look at it as, love connections.
Got it. And then we end the week with your favorite transit, which is the 7th Saturday, Neptune stationing direct.
And the reason I'm calling that my favorite of the month is because now Neptune, the planet that's sitting on my Mercury, that's coming from my sun, which it will do for everybody should they live long enough, or it won't hit everybody in their life, but flowing down in the correct direction. It's not going retrograde anymore. So it's kind of things like whatever obstacle was in the pathway of the river or the lake is now been removed, and things are moving correctly. If anyone has a March 18th birthday, you may find that you're having a little bit more sensible thoughts, sensible decisions. My birthday is March 19th, so that's why it's not quite to my 29 degrees, but really it's at the 27, 28 degree mark in Pisces. So Neptune's going to finish up this 29 Pisces and then move into 0 Aries, which is happening in 2026, spring of 2026. And this again is another outer planet that is moving into another sign. Uranus will do that in 2026. So we got Pluto here in 2024, moving into a new sign permanently. Then we have Neptune and Uranus. So this is kind of a massive change that we're alive for. So anyway, my point in this period is flowing down the River Nile. That was my favorite part of the Egypt retreat. And so I want to go back there. I really did feel like Queen Cleopatra, like sitting in these beautiful kind of swoopy chairs, going up the Nile and just seeing everybody behind, like just looking at the temples as we're just moving by in a sailing kind of. And actually, it's interesting because even though the dahabiyas have sails, because we're going up the Nile, we're going against
You're going against the current?
Against the current. We have tugboats pulling us.
Ah.
Yeah. So it's cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we would swing back, it's like with big long rope. It was cool. Wonderful. It was cool. We got to get some of these videos up on our Instagram pages.
Very, very true. All right. So let's move into the horizon. And we have coming up December 2nd, which is today, Monday, we have our Cyber Monday special. And this is $50 off a reading membership with Sandy. Highly encourage it. It is a wonderful check-in quarterly where Sandy gives you the next 3 months of dates, as well as answers questions. If your solar return is coming up, she'll usually include that as well. So it is a really wonderful way to keep clear and confident with your path moving forward. So if you are interested, I'm going to throw that link in the show notes. If you already are a member, you know the value, you know the inspiration that you do get after those calls. So let's move on to a couple other announcements. December's astrology forecast and cheat sheet are already ready and out for you. That's happening for the Big Dipper tiers, but also the Little Dipper tiers, which is only $5 a month. You are getting those starting now, December 1st. So December 4th, Sandy and Susan are coming together to discuss Mars retrograde. So this ceasefire, this time to really reflect on soldiering, war, our perseverance, our determination, all of these things. It's a great reflective tool to find out where this fire is burning within us and how we can communicate with that.
Lovely. Yeah.
So link is in the bio, of course. And our last announcement is the 2025 Mexico retreat. This is going to be a blend between the basics of astrology and human design. If you didn't check it out last week, listen into our house in last week's podcast, where we brought Christine Flowers, who is this human design practitioner, who is going to be our special guest for the retreat. She did a reading on me, which was super cool.
We have 2 spots left.
All right, 2 spots left. Hurry. And in our house, we are going to sign off here and just say, we are so excited for Thanksgiving. It is Sandy's favorite holiday. And I think in turn, it's definitely become mine because you always made it so special. And we love to be grateful for everything that we have and the delicious food and the wonderful company that we have around and the games and the memories that we've created over so many years. So anyway, we just want to say happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Happy holidays coming up, and enjoy the leftovers.
Yes, I'm still, I'm hoping that we make enough for many days of leftovers.
Yum. All right. So thanks everyone for joining in. We will catch you next week. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye, everyone.
I say go do you. Now travel far, share your stories and earn your scars. It's you. Say you are the one you will answer to when this life is done. Don't waste a minute, jump in the river. Wash yourself clean so you can deliver you. The story of you, the story of you. The story of you, the